YouTube, it's me, BrandonColonel again. Finally coming at you with the knife review for something a little different on my channel, the Spyderco. This is the Spyderco Myrtle. Got this a couple months back, if I'm not mistaken. Overall, really nice knife. I was pleasantly surprised. Very pleasantly surprised with this knife. Now, granted, I did have to do a couple of modifications to it in order to completely make it work for me, which, if you follow on my Instagram, then you know what those are already. But for those of you who don't follow me on Instagram, for starters, go follow me, because I've got a lot of great content on there. I don't always keep it completely up to date, but at the very least, you'll see a little glimpse into what I'm doing with my knives on at least a couple of times a week, if I'm lucky. But as far as what I did, basically, I just kind of chamfered the inside edge of that right there. I didn't do it all the way around because I felt that was kind of unnecessary. But right where my thumb is coming into contact with, I chamfered it out so that way it's a lot more comfortable. Now, I don't know just how well you can see that, but you can see it a little bit there, I guess. But right there, you can see it at its best. It is definitely chamfered out there, so that way, yeah, it's a lot more comfortable now. Also, I had to kind of file down some of those fins and like just the scallops taken out of the lock bar, so that way it wouldn't be catching quite so much on my jean pockets, which that was something that would have honestly just made me sell the knife outright, saying, hey, I can't carry this, had I not done something like that to the point where it actually worked. But yeah, at that point, after I sanded them down, then it glides in and out of my pocket no matter what I'm wearing. Yeah, excuse me. And it just works. The last thing that I had to... I guess I could have waited and made it smoothen out over time, but the last thing that I did was I did take the washers on the inside of this to my 8,000 grits water superstone, and then I smoothened out the washers quite tremendously. I think that I had at least a good 700 or 800 passes over the water stone per washer until it is almost drop down smooth. So this is now really good. Once you release the lock bar, it will drop down, but if that tension's still on there, then you kind of have to jiggle it down a bit. But yeah, it's really smooth now. It really holds an edge quite nicely. It went through quite a number of cardboard boxes without any trouble at all. The only hot spots on the knife, like true hot spots, are right here, because this lock bar, as you can see, even though it's chamfered on this side quite nicely to allow for really seamless closing of the knife and just completely effortless, it's not quite as chamfered on this side to make it nearly as comfortable. And quite frankly, if they had actually cut this lock bar down a bit so that way it wasn't quite as big, it makes it really easy to disengage, but at the same time, when you're gripping, now that gets to be just a massive pain in the butt. So what I found myself doing a lot is actually choking up to the point where neither one of my fingers really came into contact, and just overall, it ended up being a lot better. Now, as far as safety goes, it's not all that great, because if I lost grip even for a second, then I could easily come back up on that blade and grip there. So for comfort-wise, yeah, that definitely works. But for whatever reason, I just never felt like I had all that secure of a grip. But just so you know, it does work, and I never did lose my grip. Another thing of minor discomfort was while I was flicking it out a couple of times, if you miss, your thumb does kind of catch on that point right there, and it can get pretty uncomfortable. But if you don't hit it, then you don't have a problem at all, and it just gets to be a dream to flick it in and out. But every time that you hit that, you notice it, and it kind of hurts. Now, overall, I forgot the measurements right offhand, so let me measure that real quick. This is a 3 3/4 inch blade, and it is 8.5 inches overall. Close length is 4 3/4 inches. And quite frankly, it really just disappears into the pocket. And for a sub $300 knife, that's actually a really, really nice pocket clip too. It may just simply be a bent spring steel pocket clip, but the way that they've shaped it and done things to it, it looks like it was designed specifically for this knife. And if it wasn't quite so thin, and didn't just kind of look like a stamped out spring steel clip, then you could actually probably say this was a custom clip. But it does kind of have that spring steel look, because it's so thin and it just looks like a standard bent spring steel. But the shaping of it, you can tell they spent some time and some thought into what this thing would look like. And they made sure that it actually matched the overall flow of the knife. So, it may be a bent spring steel pocket clip, but A+ for how they actually shaped it out. Let's see, what else? They actually did a pretty good job finishing the screws themselves. It's a really nice finish on the screws. Not just a satin finish on like you would see on most screws, that you would get some kind of a part spin, honestly. These actually have a nice high reflectivity finish on them. It's not quite a mirror finish, but it is very highly reflective. You can actually see a bit of a reflection of my phone in some of the screws, like the pocket clip, the pivot screw particularly. Let's see. The finish on the blade could quite frankly be a little bit more even of a satin, in my opinion. For I think this was $220. Yeah, for about $220, this could be a bit better. In fact, I was actually at Blade Show. I was trying to get the review of this done before Blade Show, but it just didn't work out. But I actually saw a particular knife company. I can't remember them offhand. Let me actually look that up real quick, because I've actually still got my map here. Let's see. Okay, they were AKU Strike Knives. They're a new up-and-coming company. At least I haven't heard of them before. It looked like they only had about 4 or 5 knives out now, but they're actually a company using Spyderco's factory in China. And so, seeing the quality that they were putting out of Spyderco's own company, and keep in mind, this is budget line prices on their knives. Some of these knives were like only $30 and $40, and they had satin finishes that I'd expect to see on full customs. They had a really, really nice satin. And then I pull out this knife and actually show it to them, saying, so what is Spyderco doing wrong? So yeah, the satin finish on this could definitely be better, just more even overall. And so seeing that another company using Spyderco's factory can get a really, really nice polish on their blades. And even on the knives, they were just doing a straight up satin finish. and not even any kind of a polished satin or anything like that. It really makes me wonder, what is Spyderco doing differently in their own factory? And why is it that a $40 knife is coming out with a very highly reflective satin polish that this knife just isn't getting? I mean, quite frankly, I'd have been more than happy to pay an extra $10 if necessary to get literally the exact same knife with a better satin. I'd easily pay an extra $10, but that's not even an option. But yeah, and I actually talked to the guys at this particular company, saying, I don't know what you guys are doing differently, but you've got a better satin than the company that you're actually doing this out of, and for 2-digit prices. This is a triple-digit price range. Now, let's see. Now, getting off of that, as far as the overall fit and finish, just the overall quality, the shredded carbon fiber scale on this is absolutely amazing. I really fell in love with this the moment that I first laid eyes on it. And if you guys look at the video that I did beforehand for the unboxing, you guys will see that. I fell in love with that scale the moment that I saw it. And so, yeah, that is really nice. Not quite a seamless transition from the bolster to the carbon fiber scale, but right here you can't tell. You can tell right here just going up, and you can tell on this one going both ways. So, really nice job overall. Not quite seamless, but for a $220 knife, you really can't expect to get seamless. So the fact of how close they got is absolutely amazing. And yeah, that is perfect for a $220 knife. Back here, the backspacer, you can't tell that there's a difference in materials. The only way that I can tell there's a difference in materials is that while I'm going over top of it, once I get to the chamfer up here, it's like, oh wait, that's not G10 anymore, that's metal. So if you're looking for the tactile difference, then you can tell just a little bit. But there is no seam whatsoever. Even running my fingernail over it, I can't tell where the transition is at. So, really seamless integration of materials. You really cannot tell one from the other. And that's actually really cool. Going up towards the carbon fiber, I can tell just a little bit. There's a little catch right here. But yeah, besides that one little catch right here, you can't tell anything at all. So that's actually really, really nice. This is an S35V blade. And just forgot to mention, this is a Philippe Deleuze design. Which, if I'm not mistaken, Philippe Deleuze is a French maker. And he's got some really interesting designs overall. This double recurve actually ends up being fairly handy. The recurve up here, if you're trying to undo, well, not undo, but like cut open boxes and packages and stuff like that, this is really handy. Because it allows you to get really really precise cuts. And the precision of it is just amazing. You can get inside of a box with just the tip of that knife, and then start pulling, and it works. And so it slices through tape just perfectly on a box. And then, let's see what else. Just like opening up an envelope, it does the exact same thing. The recurve just tears straight through it. The only time when that recurve, the double recurve, starts to get annoying is if you're trying to get long, flowing, clean cuts through a piece of paper. Which, let's see. Okay, I've just got some kind of an envelope here to try and show you. Once you're starting to get towards the top, then it doesn't seem to cut as well, particularly when you get to that tip. It doesn't want to finish out the cut always. It does sometimes, but it doesn't always. So that's just something to keep in mind. Doesn't detract from the knife at all, but the long, flowing, sweeping cuts, about right here, it starts to kind of crap out on you a little bit. And I find that if I angle back just a little bit on my hand, then it kind of helps out just a touch. Edge retention on this is basically perfect. Pretty close to that of my ZT-0350, which that holds an edge pretty much almost indefinitely. Can't even remember the last time that I legitimately had to sharpen that for better purposes than just simply saying, hey, the polish isn't as good as it used to be, so I'm going to just put on a new edge just for kicks and giggles. Beyond that, I don't even remember the last time that I've legitimately had to sharpen that knife. And this is not quite to that level, but almost. This can go about 3 to 4 boxes of cardboard before I even had to start thinking about sharpening the edge, and it still did have a decent paper slicing edge. Now, it was a little toothy, but yeah, it was doing pretty good. Let's see, anything else? I think that might actually be it. So just a quick heads up, I will be doing just a standard blade show video sometime in the near future, just saying everything that happened. But as far as new reviews, there will be within probably the next week. I will actually be reviewing this Custom Knife Factory Muscle. This is actually prototype number 7, which is marked right there. And honestly, I love this knife. This thing has been in my pocket ever since I picked it up on Friday at the show. So, review to come on this within the next week, probably by next Saturday. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday. It should be up. So, if not, it just means I've gotten swamped with work and I don't even have a chance to. Because I do need to pick up some cardboard to do some testing with it first. But yeah, expect a review sometime by next Saturday. If not, it just simply means that I haven't even gotten the cardboard necessary to test it. Also, my very first full handmade custom knife ever. Wasn't quite in the price range that I was expecting, but because I was expecting to get a folder. But yeah, this is my very first handmade custom knife. And I bought this at Blade Show as well by a man named Raymond Johnson. More to come on this knife when I actually review it. But this knife has actually been named on the spot by Raymond, and it is called the Curly. So I'll actually explain how that came about when I actually go to review the knife. But yeah, so I'll just end the knife review right there. That's what you can come to expect in the near future. And as always, stay safe.